A little bit more about me. As I said, my name is Trevin Shirey. I work for a company called WebPage FX. We're located in Harrisburg. We actually just moved there this year. Prior to that, we were located in Carlisle. We're right on Front Street in Harrisburg. If you've driven down Front Street, you might have seen our sign. It's a big FX and wondered what the heck is that? Well, that's our company. We are a full-service internet marketing agency, which means we do web design, web development, and internet marketing. I've been there for about 5 years. I've probably worked on 150, 200 campaigns. And we work with everybody from small businesses all the way up to publicly traded companies. So I do online marketing for a living. For a lot of people, that doesn't really mean a whole lot. Even if somebody says they do marketing, that can mean a million different things. So usually whenever I say that, I kind of have to follow up with what exactly it is that I do. People usually have a tough time kind of understanding exactly what I do. Hopefully by the time we're done today, you guys will have a really good understanding of online marketing and how you can use that for your business. Typically, whenever I say I do online marketing, I get a few reactions. People right away assume that I'm a really big nerd, and actually they would be correct. So I can't really say anything about that one. That's an accurate assumption. They assume that I speak some type of foreign language, some really weird web code that is impossible to understand, which is kind of sort of true, but not really. To succeed in internet marketing, you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to know PHP. You don't even really have to know HTML that well. And my personal favorite, they assume that I'm some type of snake oil salesman, especially whenever I'm working in SEO. I hear that a lot. Unfortunately for you guys, I left my snake oil at home, so I won't be kind of peddling over that today. But this is one that we hear a lot too, and again, hopefully by the end of this, you'll kind of have a better understanding of what exactly online marketing is all about. For me, somebody who works in this stuff all the time, I built my first website, I think I was in like 6th grade, so I've literally been obsessed with the internet from that point on. And I think at the end of the day, the internet is really all about 3 things when it comes to marketing. It's really good at 3 things. And we're going to talk about each of those specific things in greater detail. The first is reach. The internet gives you a way to reach people on a massive scale in a very efficient manner that you can't get in any other marketing channel. I'm absolutely fascinated by this. A good example of the reach that the internet gives you is, I can pull out my phone right now and post something to Twitter or Facebook. Anybody in the world can have access to that within seconds. That's something that we take for granted a lot, but it's very powerful and a huge asset for us when it comes to marketing. The other thing the internet is really good at is growth. It's awesome at powering growth through different marketing tactics. It's really easy to scale up and grow a business through the internet. So we're going to dive into some specific tactics that you can use to grow leads and revenue for your business. And everybody's favorite one is the internet is a very efficient way to make money if you're smart about it. If you're not doing this, you might as well not do anything. This is kind of what it all boils down to. And I think the internet provides us with a lot of tools to be able to do that. So before we kind of dive deep into 3 of those things, I wanted to take you guys back to school, and we're going to do a little bit of Business 101 here. So hopefully this isn't too traumatic for some of you who didn't like school, but we'll try to make it quick and painless. So businesses need leads. You don't need me here to stand up and tell you that. If you're not getting leads into your business, you have a problem. This is true for a one-man startup. This is true for a $1 million Fortune 500 company. You need leads coming in. You need to come up with a way to get them. And again, if you really kind of boil down to the nitty-gritty, businesses need money. You need revenue coming in, and you need ways to get that. Again, this is super Business 101. You could have learned this in 4th grade. Marketing's job is to create leads and money. And this sounds really simple, but this is something that is really easy to forget. Even as somebody who works in marketing all the time, it's important to keep this kind of at the top of your mind and remember this. It's really easy to get lost in the shuffle of marketing and do things that are really cool or really sexy or things that lots of people see, but at the end of the day, those don't matter if they're not providing you with these 2 things. So if you take kind of one thing away from what I'm talking about today, just remember to measure your marketing, make sure that you're getting what you really need out of anything that you're doing in terms of marketing efforts. Sadly, this is the way that most people approach marketing. Even a lot of people who work in marketing, we just kind of throw stuff at the wall and hope that it sticks. It's like playing darts blindfolded. Hey, let's buy this billboard, let's create this website, and just kind of fumble our way through it. And it looks like sales were up this month, so this must have done a good job. Before I started working professionally in marketing, I thought that was a really stupid way to kind of do things. I still think that that's a really stupid way to do things. You can't fully measure marketing 100% of the time, but the better that we can do at it, the more we can kind of decide how to invest your marketing dollars for your business. And it's really kind of ironic that we approach marketing in kind of a haphazard way like that. Whenever we approach a product as like a mad scientist, if you guys have a particular product or service that you offer, I'm sure you're an expert on that. You spend tons of time learning your product, learning your service. But then we go out and try to market that particular thing, and we're just kind of flying blind. So marketing's job is to create leads and money. That's what it all comes down to. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And that's the most important thing that we need to remember. So diving into the reach aspect a little bit more. The internet is really a platform at the end of the day. It's a way to do pretty much anything that you can think of. I don't think fundamentally people or business has really changed that much over time. What's changed is how we do things. So another way that I like to explain the internet in terms of marketing is it's a better way to do old things. If you've never used the internet to market before, but you're really good at business, you know how to talk to people, you can be an awesome internet marketer. All it is a platform for doing what we've always done. The internet provides us with a better way to do things like share videos. I'm actually old enough to remember whenever you had to watch America's Funniest Home Videos to watch a goofy video of somebody riding a bike into a wall or something like that. Very important things to society. The internet gives us a much easier way to do that. It's something that we've always done, but now we have a better platform to amplify that. It's also a better way to share cat pictures, something that's very important. If the internet didn't exist, I don't know how we'd be able to see all these different funny pictures of cats. It's also a better way for strange people from your high school to contact you. The Facebook, I kind of poke fun at it, but it has really changed the way that we communicate. We always kept in touch with friends, but it gives us a platform to do that. That's the same thing that the internet can do for your marketing. You've always marketed your business, but you can get a better platform to do that. Some specific things that the internet does really well through this platform that would be relevant to you guys. It's a better way to reach customers. And what I mean by that is, this is a screenshot of a program called Google Analytics. Any of you familiar with that at all? Awesome. So this is a website that has 1,700 people visiting their site right now, which is a very high number. If you guys have brick and mortar businesses or storefronts, imagine trying to cram 1,700 people in there. Maybe there's some people that can do it, but there's not a lot. So you have this platform that can multiply the reach that your business has tenfold. It's also a better way to consume information, and this is really important to understand if you want to succeed in internet marketing. Is people buy things online, they share things online, but all it really is consuming different types of information, and that's crucial as you're trying to find leads, you're trying to find customers for your business. There are people out there consuming information related to your business, whether that's reading reviews, reading more about your products, reading more about your industries. And most of the time, the internet is the way that they're going to do that. So the internet gives us all global reach. Like I mentioned, I can pull out my phone and talk with somebody in Japan, in India right away. If you're a local company, you might not need that global type of reach, but part of that is giving you highly targeted local reach as well. So a practical example of how this works. Say I'm a trampoline salesman. I don't know why I picked trampolines. I think they're kind of cool, but other than that, I know nothing about trampolines. But that's my product. I'm in that business. It's probably not going to go well for me, but I'm going to try. So I want to sell trampolines to somebody in Des Moines, Iowa. Kind of a goofy example, but I'm sure you guys all have specific target markets. It might not be location-based. Maybe it's another type of demographic. But this is a fairly common example of a problem that a business would have. In the 1950s, or even say the 1980s, I would argue, You could go up pretty recently, but your only real options to reach somebody in that market were to maybe buy a newspaper ad, eventually maybe do a radio spot, and kind of cross your fingers. It's super difficult to do something like that. Today, it is obviously much easier, and again, we kind of take the power that we have for granted. Just off the top of my head, I can think of 4 or 5 ways that are really effective to reach somebody in Des Moines, Iowa, who's interested in my new type of trampoline. One example is Facebook ads. Anybody here ever ran Facebook ads for their business at all? Awesome. So you guys are familiar with this screen. Yeah, we're good. Thank you. So Facebook allows you to not only target people who are in Des Moines, but I can target other specific demographics. I can target people by age. I can target people that have multiple children. I can target people who like trampolines, who like adventure sports. You have a lot of power, and you can do this for a very low amount of money. I mean, you can do it for $5 a month, or you can pay $1,000 a month, whatever you want to do. So this platform really gives us an amazing amount of reach. You could also do something like search engine optimization. 12 billion people every month are searching. There's 12 billion searches in Google every month, which is insane. The vast majority of those have never been searched before. So if you create a website, whether you're running paid search ads or organic SEO, you have an easy way for people who are interested in your product in a particular location and demographic to reach you. Again, I think we take this for granted a lot. Like I was on my way here, I just looked up directions and never been here before. Figured out how to get here very quickly. Just something that you're doing tons of times every day. But 30 years ago, this was a real problem. I mean, even getting here would be a real problem if you're kind of not directionally savvy like I am. So these things are activities that we do every day, but they are really world-changing powers. They can do a lot of stuff for your business. And the internet, then, at the end of the day, in my opinion, is a very level playing field. And the example that I always use for this is it's just as easy for you to pull out your laptop, your phone, and visit the New York Times website as it is to go to Patriot News or the Sentinel. There's no barrier of entry there. Yeah, those companies might have more marketing dollars, but in terms of you getting in front of them, it's just as easy for you to do that as it is Amazon and whoever your biggest competitors are. The internet really provides a level playing field. One thing that's been really neat to watch the last few years is the cost of creating a website has gone down dramatically. These are some ballpark figures here over the last couple of decades, and you can see the entry cost has gone down a lot. I mean, this is even a little bit of a higher range. This would be like if you're building a custom website. You can use a service like Wix or Squarespace and get a website for $5 or $10 a month that actually looks very nice. So again, you have that awesome platform that the internet provides, and for $5 a month, you can have an online storefront, an online portal, whatever you want that can reach anybody in the world. We take that for granted way too often. As I talked about earlier, the internet is measurable, which is extremely powerful compared to a lot of traditional forms of marketing. We're able to see hard numbers on what is going on with your internet marketing efforts, what's going on with your website, your social media presence, whatever you might be working on. This is something that's hard to measure. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing if you've got somebody twirling a sign out in front of your store, but how can you quantify the impact that had on your business? Yes, maybe more people come through the door that day, but can we really attribute it to that? There's no way to tell. This, on the other hand, is very easy to measure. You can see exactly how many people went to your website, what they did, what they looked at, where they're coming from, a million other things. So that alone makes internet marketing a very powerful field for businesses, no matter how big or small you are. And for marketing, if you think back to that slide where Shaq is shooting a free throw blindfolded, that is not what you want to do. If you're just kind of scatterbrained, just throwing stuff out there, you have no way to know what your ROI is from different marketing channels. So what the internet can really provide us by investing your marketing dollars there is dollars in, dollars out. You can see, hey, I spent this many hours valued at this cost. This is how many phone calls, leads, conversions I got from my website. If you work in e-commerce, it's even easier. You can see the exact dollar amount of products that you sold through your website. So that all sounds awesome, right? Everybody's like ready to run out of here and take all their marketing budget and put it into the internet, I'm sure. But unfortunately, like most things in life, there is a little bit of a catch, and that is that internet marketing isn't easy. This is something that people forget to mention a lot of times. If you've watched maybe like a late night infomercial where somebody's talking about some weird new technology thing, they always make it seem like, hey, you spend an hour doing something online, you're going to get a $5,000 check coming in from a new client. That is not the case, and probably the biggest thing that I can tell you to attest to that is if internet marketing was really that easy, I would not be here. I'd be on a yacht like off the coast of Australia doing something really adventurous, maybe scuba diving. So what ends up happening is people kind of have this misconception of internet marketing that it is super easy and it happens for you very quickly. So those of you who are familiar with Google Analytics, this will look familiar to you. This is just a chart of weekly website traffic for a project that I worked on beginning in 2010. And this is pretty common. I mean, across a lot of the companies that I've worked with, we see this a lot where you kind of have to really work hard initially, whether it's 6 months or a year, to gain traction. Once you do that, you can reap a lot of big rewards, but by no means, if you invest in marketing yourself online for a month, you're going to see instant return. That is a pretty common misconception. Unfortunately, it's not true. Like I said, you guys could all have yachts as well. We could all go out and sail around together. But you're going to have to put some work into it. If you're in business, that's kind of understood. So the internet is a platform. It's awesome. It's very powerful. It's not a money tree. That's a key distinction to make note of. It gives us an opportunity to do really awesome marketing and to make lots of money. It doesn't guarantee that. So up next, we're going to talk about growth, and this is really some specific strategies, some specific internet marketing channels that you can work on implementing for your business. I want to keep these as actionable as possible, so a lot of these are just kind of quick hit tips that you guys can go and hopefully implement if you haven't done already. Others are a little bit more big picture. So this is kind of how you take that platform and really put it to work for you. So you're all given this opportunity through the internet. Here's what you need to do to start gaining that traction. And our goal is always up and to the right. So I really like that phrase. We want, as time moves forward, everything needs to be increasing. So internet marketing is unique in many ways, but one of my favorites is just the nature of marketing through the internet. A lot of traditional marketing falls into what's called outbound marketing, where you are reaching out to people and hoping that they reach back to you. A good example to explain this concept is a billboard. If you put a billboard out on I-81, thousands of people are going to drive by every day. Say I put a billboard out for my awesome trampoline business that I've started. 10,000 people are going to see that every day. Say 100 people are actually interested in trampolines, and maybe 5 people are interested in purchasing a trampoline. So I'm paying for all those impressions. If I really want to make sales out of it, there's only a few people that are actually being reached through that. And outbound marketing isn't bad. It has a lot of specific purposes that it's really good at. There's a lot of things that it's better at, including kind of getting that big number of impressions in internet marketing. But a lot of internet marketing falls into inbound marketing, where what you're essentially doing is making yourself visible to people who want to find you. And that is really powerful. If you think about somebody who's searching something in Google, they are already interested in a trampoline, for instance. So they're searching for that and then finding you. So they are pre-qualifying themselves, whereas a lot of outbound marketing, you have to qualify people and kind of hope that they come back in. So that's a very powerful thing. Like I said, obviously I have a preference towards inbound marketing, but there's nothing wrong with any types of outbound marketing. The best strategy is going to have a mixture of both and have different specific goals for each of them. So one specific way, and this is probably my favorite, and for most of you this would probably be where you can see the greatest return on your marketing dollars, is by optimizing your site for search, which is a mouthful way of saying SEO. I'm sure all of you have at least heard of SEO, so I'm just going to talk a little bit more about what that means and offer you a few tips and how you can kind of get started on that. So the old way that we used to find information was, maybe going to the library, reading an encyclopedia, watching TV, and super old school would be like a card catalog. I'm interested in a particular type of, say, like natural gas drill. If I'm working in like an industrial space, you're going to have to go somewhere else to find that information before the internet. Now the internet, you pick up your phone, you can read anything you want about that in seconds. So the new way is a lot more efficient. You don't even have to type anything a lot of the times. You can just talk to your phone, and it'll spit back some really relevant information. And that's what SEO is all about, is as people are interested in this information, you want to be as visible as possible and make yourself able to be found. So that's what search kind of boils down to, is this is how people find information. So I always kind of chuckle whenever people aren't interested in investing in SEO, because at least in my head, I don't know how any business would not be interested in making themselves visible to anybody who's searching for information related to them. A good example is, say, I'm hungry, as I often am, and I'm searching for the best restaurant in Mechanicsburg. Google is going to give me a bunch of different options, and whenever Google's deciding what to display, how to rank sites, they're looking at 200 to 300 different factors. So there's a lot that goes into that. I could talk for 8 or 9 hours just about SEO, but I'm sure you guys have some other things to do today. But in a nutshell, the goal of SEO then is, if you work with or own a restaurant in Mechanicsburg, you want to show up as highly as possible. The people that have those top few positions in the photo gallery at the top, they're making money off of this keyword. People are seeing that listing, they're reading their reviews, and they're going to eat there. Another example is, say you own a construction company, you're trying to target people who are interested in kitchen remodeling. Looks like Harrisburg Kitchen and Bath shows up number 1 in the organic listings, the unpaid listings here. This is worth a lot of money to them. I don't work with this company, but I'm sure people are searching for this. They're arriving on the site, and they're either calling in or filling out a contact form. As people are searching for information, there is a lot of dollar value associated with searches like these. Interesting fact, 82% of searchers click on what I call the organic or the unpaid listings in Google. So Google's actually changed their design a little bit, where anything that is a paid ad, which we'll touch on a little bit later, actually has ad listed next to it. So a lot of people are kind of advertising adverse. They don't want to click on somebody who's bidding for a listing. They want what Google thinks is best. So paid search can be a super valuable tool for you. Organic, in general, the quality of the people coming in off of that is a little bit higher. And I think it's because of this. People are a little bit more particular. They don't want to give people their business who are advertising kind of blatantly in Google like that. So if you totally ignore SEO, you're basically taking your business, whether you're online only or brick and mortar, and moving it to wherever this is, probably North Dakota somewhere. You're taking away visibility from your business. An optimized website is like taking your business and moving it to the middle of the busiest intersection in the world. Anybody can access it. People who are searching for information related to your business are able to find you. So SEO then is really just helping search engines understand your site. The way that Google works is it's going around the entire web and reading the information on your site with a robot, and it's based on what it's finding, what it's learning about your site, it's deciding how relevant you are for particular keywords. Again, if you want to understand super technically how that works, you can talk to me after. But it's a complicated process, but there are easy things that you can do to kind of help your site perform better and increase that visibility. One of those things, and probably the most important factor for SEO, is to use what I call descriptive page titles. And this is a huge signal for Google to understand what every page on your site is actually about. And we'll go into some examples, but first off, a page title. A page title is something that you see show up in a few different places on your site. Depending on what browser, what operating system you're using, it's going to look a little bit different, but in a nutshell, the page title is what shows up on the browser bar at the top of whatever browser you're using. It also will show up in Google search results as the clickable text in the results. So that's also coming from the title tag. So the same thing shows up in the bar above your site and in Google's results. This particular example can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes Google decides to change whatever your title is to show something that it thinks is a little bit better. But I'd say probably 70–80% of the time Google is going to show what your title is. So even based off of that, it's really important to have a title that is going to provide some value and some information to users. So some specific examples. A bad page title, one that's unoptimized, would be something that's very broad and not descriptive. So if we stick with my trampoline example, say I have a product page that has 5 different types of trampolines on it. If I just call that page products or our products, Trevin's products, that doesn't mean anything to Google. They know that there's products there, but they don't know what they are. So if somebody's searching for trampolines or whatever I'm offering, Google has no way to really be certain what that page is about, therefore they're unlikely to show me in the search results. So a better page title is something that talks specifically about what you're doing. If you sell industrial strength widgets on that page, if that's what the page has, that's what the title needs to reflect. What you're doing is just building a theme around your page. A few more examples, and this is a really common one that we run into a lot when we're working with the site for the first time, is they'll call the home page either home page in the title tag or say main or home, something very vague. And technically that's true, but again, this doesn't help Google out at all, figure out what your site is about. There's probably a billion websites that say home page for their main page on their site. So you're not doing anything to differentiate yourself. So if you own a custom t-shirt printing business in Harrisburg, that's what the title tag of your homepage should say. It should kind of encapsulate everything that you do. So another one, and this is a real life example. So the good page title that's listed here is Amazon's actual title tag. That's their actual page title. If you go to the website, that's what you'll see in your browser bar at the top. Depending on what you Google, that's what will show up in the results. So Amazon, who obviously is a really smart company who makes more money than any of us could ever dream about having, you can see they are kind of summarizing what they provide with that homepage title tag. Those are all the key things that they have. I'm sure then if you go to Google and search online shopping for electronics, a lot of things that are kind of mentioned here, they're going to show up very highly. So that's the title tag. The next one, and I usually hear a few groans whenever I mention this, is write at least 500 words on all of your key pages. And I don't have a note of it on here, but specifically this needs to be unique copy that's not elsewhere on your website or elsewhere on somebody else's website. And the thing that I hear a lot whenever I mention this, and I've been going back and forth for years about this with my own dad, who has an insurance agency, and he has a little website, and I say, Dad, you need to write copy on all of your pages. And the reason that that's so important is Google also needs that to understand what your page is about, which kind of goes back to your question. Building a theme around that whole page. Google doesn't read images, they can't read videos. Give them maybe 10 years, they can understand that, but there's nothing there that they can read except for text. So if you have a page that's all about a particular type of product and there's only 50 words there, you're not really giving Google a lot of proof and a lot of information as far as what that page is about. This was a project that I worked on where the site was doing pretty well. They had most of their SEO in order, but there was no content on the pages. There was like 40 words on every page, and they had hundreds and hundreds of products that didn't have a lot of content. Just adding a few hundreds of words to all those pages, building out the product pages, traffic really took off for them, and they're doing really well. It's a really healthy business right now. So a lot of times people, and this is very true, you guys aren't all writing experts. You're experts at whatever your particular business is, whatever your career path is. But at the same time, taking that time and effort to write a little bit more kind of shows you as somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. You're able to provide more information for users, and ultimately you're able to help Google really understand what your site is about. Google needs text to be able to read and understand what you're all about. So it's worth the time, even though it's a huge pain in the butt and it can be a little bit time consuming. It's definitely worth having somebody who knows your business well write copy, whether that's you or somebody else that you work with. So I've shown screenshots from this a few times. It seems like a lot of you are already aware of this and maybe using it, but there's a free tool to track anything with your website. And if you're not using it or not using one of their competitors, I'd absolutely recommend it. It's called Google Analytics. It's not super difficult to set up depending on how your site is. But the good news is there's a lot of really good documentation out there about it. And this all goes back to that theme of having measurable marketing. If you're going to go do SEO after this, which I hope everybody at least dabbles, you're going to have no way to know what impact you're having unless you have a way to easily track that. And this tool is awesome. It's extremely powerful. Another one, and again, I'll have a webpage that you can go to and get all the links for these. But this is a tool that Webpage Effects actually created that kind of runs through your site quickly and scores you out based on maybe how optimized your titles are, how much copy you have, how often people are talking about your site online. And this is pretty high level. It's not going to really obviously replace somebody going through your site manually who knows SEO and working through it, but it can kind of show you if there's any major red flags on your site. So this is totally free. It'll process your site and give you a really pretty looking report. Another one that's very helpful, and this is actually coming from Google, so when Google says something about how to rank better, how to do SEO, everybody should pay attention, because at the end of the day, they are the kings. But if you, ironically, Google Search Engine Optimization Starter Guide, and as I mentioned, there's a link on my website to it, but it's a PDF that goes into a little bit more detail about things like titles and descriptions. And this is written for beginners, so it's not going to be over your head. You're going to be able to kind of understand what Google's looking for after you go through this. So to kind of summarize SEO, I think it's really good at doing three specific things. It's great at driving high-value traffic. If you think back to inbound versus outbound, you're making yourself visible to people who are already interested in what you're offering. They're looking for information about that. Those are really high-level visitors. And those people then, if your website is set up properly, are going to increase the amount of leads coming in, whether you're interested in purchases, contact forms, and ultimately that's going to grow revenue. If you're interested in growing revenue long-term, I would probably 95% of the time recommend SEO as the best channel for you to invest in. As we mentioned, there's billions and billions of searches every month. I'm sure all of you guys are Googling stuff constantly. It's pretty much how people find information nowadays. So extremely important for your business to be visible in search. Kind of the cousin of SEO, an offshoot of SEO, is known as local SEO. And if we go back to the best restaurant slide, those images at the top where people are writing reviews, getting directions, information about your business, that all falls into an area known as local SEO, which is in a lot of ways similar to SEO, but there are differences. If you have any storefront that customers visit, if you have any brick and mortar locations, this is probably just as important for you as regular SEO, organic optimization for your site. And there are a few reasons for that. I mean, obviously something like restaurant or hospitality, any retail thing, I mean, people are really making money for you once they are there. Maybe you can book a reservation online or something, but ultimately they need to show up to be able to turn into revenue for you. And this is a great way to kind of provide them that information. So two things that you want to do to really boost your local SEO efforts. The first is claiming and verifying your Google Plus local listing, which if you search your business in Google, you show up on the maps. That's what we're talking about here. Unfortunately, Google's changed the name of what this particular service is called many times. It used to be Google Maps, then it was Google Places, and then as I'm sure you guys are aware, they started this whole goofy Google Plus thing. Everything's kind of falling under that umbrella. But if you go to the business page, you can see on the bottom right, if you view your business page, there's a button there that you can click to verify that you own a business. And then it'll kind of walk you through a step of making sure that you are actually the owner. They'll either send you a postcard or give you a call. And once you verify that, you can kind of build out all of the information on this page. And that is kind of the next step then for local SEO is your page should have as much information as you can possibly put on it. Whenever people are searching things like best restaurants, Google's using this particular page to figure out who should show up for that. So the more reviews that you have, the more information you provide about your business, even if it's just things like hours, types of payment that you accept, adding multiple photos, that all gives Google more to play with, and they're able to kind of understand a little bit more about who you are, what you're all about, which will help you show up higher for searches. So super easy. You can do this in maybe 15 minutes or so, and it's drastically going to improve your visibility for local search. Another site to look at too, which there isn't a slide about it, is Yelp. That's probably the second biggest one. They have a very similar process. Look up your business on Yelp and click to verify your listing. Fill that out as well. It's also worth noting the content that you're putting on these local pages needs to be unique from what you have on your website. You can't just copy and paste it, because Google is smart. They're going to know that you're just taking and copying that content over. So local SEO is really good at a few things. It's awesome at growing foot traffic, getting people in the door. If that's kind of the end game for your business, absolutely invest some time and resources into local SEO. Giving accurate directions, which again sounds like it might not be a huge deal, but you have a chance for, I don't know, maybe 80% of people who are traveling somewhere are going to use either GPS or some type of search on their smartphone to be able to get to your business. I'm sure you've all had experiences where you've had directions that weren't good. It's awful. A lot of times I'll just get mad and I'll turn around and go home. Even just making sure that where Google has your pin on your map is 100% accurate is really important. If it's not, you're probably missing out on a few people. It also improves local search. You're going to have higher rankings over people who are searching for a business in a particular area. Okay, so that wraps up just some information on local SEO, some things that you guys can work on. The next one is paid search, which people kind of call different things. You probably heard it referred to as PPC. Google AdWords is Google's program that lets you run paid search. So some people refer to it as that as well. So what the paid search ads look like, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but usually in Google's results there's some advertisements at the top, at the side, and at the bottom of the standard results. These are all people who are running Google AdWords, and the way that works is it's basically an auction. So you find particular keywords. In this case, it's running store Palo Alto. So if I have a running company in Palo Alto, I want people who are interested in shoes to buy from me. I would put this keyword into Google AdWords and say I wanted to bid maximum of $3 anytime somebody clicked on that. And to me, it's worth $3 for somebody interested in that to go to my site. Then what Google does is it kind of has an automated auction based on your max bid. So if somebody bids $310, they're going to show up, and I'm going to go down onto the side here, a little bit of a lower placing. So paid search, depending on what your business is, what vertical you're in, what products you sell, it's going to make more sense for some people and not as much for others. If you're selling stuff online, it can be a great tool, but it just kind of depends on your industry. And my recommendation is if you're not sure about it, if you think it might work, you can always run paid search for a little bit, and then if you're not seeing the return on it, stop it and reinvest that money somewhere else. We run a lot of paid search campaigns as well for clients. Most of the times they're successful, but every now and then it's just not a good fit. Maybe there's too much competition. If competitors with more marketing dollars, you can kind of outbid them. It's just hard to get that return. But if you are super driven, super type A, and you need to start making money from the internet now, this is really the only way that you can do it, is some type of paid ad. So again, just a summary of how it works. Say I own a snow removal company in Harrisburg. Somebody searches that. That's a keyword that I've selected that I want to bid on. They click on the ad. I pay whatever it might be. This is an estimation, say $2.57, because I ended up winning the bid. And then what you really have to do is become a student of math and figure out how much you're paying every month, and you can kind of relate that to how many people are doing whatever your goal is on your website. So maybe this ad sends them to a contact form to contact me for snow removal services. If I get 3 of those, it's worth the investment that I've made in that month. If I'm getting nobody, then maybe it's time to kind of reevaluate the campaign. If you set this up, either do a little bit of research on your own or have somebody do it who knows what they're doing. It's really easy to blow a lot of money on this if you aren't setting it up properly. You can bid too much for keywords. A lot of times what ends up happening is people end up, kind of by default, Google will look at the keywords that you have listed, say snow removal Harrisburg, and make some suggested keywords based off of that you will bid on. So somebody could search something like snowmen in central PA, and I could be showing up and paying for that traffic if you don't set it up properly. So not to scare you away from that, but just make sure that you've kind of done your due diligence when looking into it. Some advantages that paid search offers: it's really good at moving product quickly. If you have a sales goal that you need to meet maybe by month end, you have a product that you want to get off your shelves, this is an awesome way to do it because you have full control over how often you're showing up and what position you're showing up in. It's great if your business has some element of seasonality. A lot of companies will have maybe 1 or 2 weeks a year where they might do 50-60% of their revenue for the year during that time. In that instance, paid search will be awesome. It's just another channel for some increased visibility for you. And it's also good for testing new products. I'll do this on client sites. Maybe they have something new that they want to try. I will just run some paid ads into that page so we can get some instant traffic, kind of see how people are responding to the product or maybe a new design layout on the website. Next, email marketing. This is probably my personal favorite as far as what I enjoy doing most. Email marketing is extremely awesome, extremely powerful. It's kind of forgotten about. So many people just associate email marketing with spam, or they get a ton of emails every day, so they're annoyed with emails. They think it's not a good way to invest their marketing dollars. But the phrase that I use to try to convince people is email marketing is the recurring revenue of online marketing. And what I mean by that is this is a graph of actual revenue coming in from an e-commerce site. And you can see all of these spikes here. Each one of those spikes is a day that this company sent out an email blast to all of their subscribers. So that is super valuable. If you guys are smart, you can look at that and say, oh, it'd be nice if every month, whenever I send this out, I get a nice influx of sales. Email marketing allows you to take all of your most important people and basically pull them into your store all at once. Super powerful, a really awesome tool to have. And what I like most about it is it's typically very cost effective. Email is also extremely simple. Marketers like myself do a very good job of complicating email. You guys probably get like really fancy, extremely ornate email blasts from like large brands. And those are good, I'm sure they work well for them, but for a small or medium-sized business, you don't need to have the world's perfect email template. There are a lot of ways to make this an awesome channel for you without kind of going over the top and making this, like I've seen people be as particular over their email template as they are their website, and it turns into like a 3-month-long project. A really good example that kind of points this out is Barack Obama did an awesome job of email marketing during his campaign. And this is plain Jane as it gets. And this is actually one of the most successful emails they ever sent out. There's no fancy template, it's just text. It's really personal. It's kind of interesting the way they set it up. It looks like it's coming like directly from him, like he's sitting down on his like fancy presidential BlackBerry and writing this out. But stuff like this, if you're kind of creative with the way that you write it and frame it, can be very powerful. A lot of ways, as I talked about, we're all kind of adverse to advertising. So getting something like this from a company is almost more refreshing than the $10,000 bells and whistles that you get in a lot of emails that are sent out. This is an awesome tool for small businesses especially. Not sure who you guys that send existing emails uses your email provider, but I really like MailChimp. It's MailChimp.com. It's really easy to use, and the cool thing is you can send up to 12,000 emails every month to 2,000 people for free, absolutely zero cost. A lot of our clients, you have to kind of have a pretty good email base to even reach this, so you can do email marketing through the platform for free. I also like they have wonderful educational content. It's really easy to use. So if you don't have a platform that you're using, this is something that you could use to kind of get started. So email marketing then really excels at converting past customers. Depending on your business model, a substantial amount of your revenue might be from people coming back again for another time. And most people, even if they're not actively doing email marketing, they have these people in some type of list or database that they can market to. And this is my evil marketer hat kind of coming on now, but the U.S. has very lax laws whenever it comes to email marketing. Technically, you can email out to anybody. They don't even have to opt in. You just have to make sure that they can opt out. Now, take that with a ginormous grain of salt. I am not saying grab as many emails as you can find or buy one of those goofy lists that people sell and just start emailing out to them. The most powerful type of email list is an opt-in where people are signing up on your website, you're collecting them at a trade show or something. That's a huge tool. But In general, kind of depending on your goals, you can be pretty aggressive with it, so don't feel bad like you're doing something evil. So I will now take off my sinister marketing hat. So the last channel that I want to talk about is social media, and I purposely kept this one as last because when a lot of people think of internet marketing, this is the first thing that they think about right away. And the reason for that is it's the most visible. It's a lot more difficult for me to talk about SEO or email marketing to small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and kind of get people to wrap their head around that. But I can go up to my grandma and be like, "Hey, I saw this on Facebook," and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I kind of understand that." So the key with social media is it's easy to understand, but it's hard to monetize. And as with anything in marketing, this isn't like a black and white rule, and I know people who do really well making money off of social, but if you have a smaller marketing budget, a lot of times you're better off investing in those other channels. And it all kind of depends on your products. If you have a product that's somewhat social, say like if you sell wedding gowns or something like that, where people are sharing that type of product often on Facebook, it's a little bit more of an emotional product. Then investing in your Facebook presence, maybe running some Facebook ads would do a really good job for you. Same thing with maybe Pinterest marketing. But in general, especially if you're like a B2B company, you're not maybe in a sexy industry, social media can suck up a lot of time when you're spending your day writing Facebook posts and tweets. And that might not directly tie into revenue as much as something like SEO or email marketing. This is an interesting study that kind of puts things into perspective. So this was a poll that was conducted of some of the top marketers around the country and basically asked them, where do you get your best leads from? What channels do you really rely on? And you can see social media is still pretty high up there, but compared to the others, there's a little bit of a drop off whenever we're talking about email marketing, SEO, and PPC. So I think you really just have to ask yourself if it's worth the time investment for your product, if your product kind of lends itself to that. Again, there's some industries that social media might be the most important thing you do. I mentioned like weddings, if you do anything around events, if you have maybe like a homemade product, something like that can do really well on Facebook, especially Facebook ads for stuff like that. I would definitely recommend doing those. But for your typical average B2B business, somebody who works, like I said, in one of those industries that isn't as flashy, a lot of times they are losing money off of social media. So with social, I think, again, you just have to ask yourself hard questions. It's something that's really easy to grasp, but unless you can kind of point it back to new money coming in, new leads coming in, it might be better just refocusing your time into another marketing channel. Social is awesome at a few things. Interacting with customers. It's a wonderful platform to develop relationships with people. If that's a good fit for your business, it can create and build that brand loyalty, and it's great for customer feedback. As I'm sure people tend to overshare on Facebook, you guys have all seen that. So if somebody thinks something good or mostly horrible about your product, they're going to let you know on Facebook, and that is important information for you to get. A lot more likely to do kind of provide you with that on social media than they are to walk in your store and say it to your face or even shoot you a personal email. So what we end up having are, in terms of growth, I think these are the 5 most important lead driving channels for small, medium-sized businesses. These aren't in any particular order. I mean, depending on what your market is and your strategy, the priority is going to kind of move around a little bit. I would say, though, in general, SEO is probably one of the highest returns that you could get. So last, everybody's favorite part, the money part. And this is kind of the missing piece of the puzzle, surprisingly, for a lot of people, especially marketers like myself. And most people actually forget to talk about this when you're talking about online marketing. We've kind of went over why the internet is awesome, some tactics you can use to drive leads, but if you stop there, you're kind of in big trouble. You're not actually getting any value from those people. And a good example of this is, I think, retail stores. If you go just down the street to the Capital City Mall, retail does a really good job of converting people, of kind of tying everything together. Somebody like Macy's spends millions and millions of dollars to get you into the door, but once you're there, you have people coming up and talking to you. Hey, what are you looking for? Have you thought about this? If you open up up a charge account with us, you can get 25% off. Sometimes they're kind of annoyed by that, but it works really well. That's why they do that. They don't just quit. Okay, we spent all this money on commercials and advertising. They're in the store now. They're kind of on their own. So this is something that I think, in general, we as internet marketers, you guys as people managing marketing presence, can really learn from. What most websites do is they basically say buy now or leave. If somebody said that to you in a retail store, you turn around and hightail it out of there. But indirectly, this is what a lot of websites say. They say, here's our products, here's a little bit of information about us. If you want them, get them. If not, we don't need anything else from you. Fine, thank you, have a good day, get off my website. That is a huge problem for a lot of people. That's what we want to avoid. So when we're thinking about this conversion phase, if you look at, say, the typical online marketing funnel out there, you're really honing in at this point on consideration and conversion. If you don't excel at this step, you're never going to really maximize the revenue and the return that you're getting from internet marketing. So pay careful attention. We're just going to go over a few specific things that you can do that work really well across the board. And this is what kind of ties everything in together. If you do a really good job of conversion, it's going to help everything else work well and flow for you. And this is kind of my favorite tip in terms of conversion. And it sounds kind of brutal, but it's extract value from as many users as possible. So you have hundreds, thousands, if you're lucky, millions of different people coming into your website. A very small percentage of those are actually going to purchase a product. Even if you're doing a really good job, maybe you have 7-8% of people coming in and buying or filling out a contact form. But if you say buy now and leave, if you just don't care about those people, you're missing out on around 90% of the people who are coming to your site. And depending on your product, your purchasing cycle might take 6 months, it might take a year. Say I'm buying a new pool, I'm not going to leave here today and decide, oh, I really want a pool next year. Let me go on to the first website I can find and buy right now. That's a decision that's going to take a longer time. So that 90% are people that you can kind of build relationships with, deliver information to, and give them more value as they give you value, and you kind of get a much better return from your website. One really practical way to do that, which ties into what we talked about before with email marketing, is start collecting emails. If you use a service like MailChimp or Campaign Monitor, Constant Contact, I think pretty much all those have really easy forms that you can kind of copy and paste on your site, so you can start collecting emails of people. E-commerce stores in general do a really good job at this, but your goal should be to provide visitors who are interested in your product but not ready to buy some type of value. Maybe that is a coupon in this case. Maybe it's a white paper. Maybe it's some other resource that they have where they can get more information about what you offer and about your business. So I might not be ready to buy a pool, but I am definitely ready to read the buyer's guide for pools. Maybe I need to figure out which type I want to buy. So I might not give them my credit card and say, hey, bill me $10,000 for this pool, but I will give them my email address. So a business who's smart about this is getting value from people who are at any point on the purchasing funnel. And then come summertime, whenever I'm ready, I might pull out that guide, or maybe I give them a call because I kind of have an existing relationship with that business. Second one that kind of piggybacks off of that is write informational content about your industry. And if you're sensing a theme that you're going to be doing a lot of writing to really succeed, you'll be correct. You can never write too much on your website. You can never have too many pages. This is crucial. In terms of SEO, it's obviously important, but you need informational content, not just sales content on your website. And I guess first off, congratulations. You guys are all experts. People don't usually realize this, but whatever business you work in, whatever industry you work in, I guarantee you know a heck of a lot more about it than I do. So to me, you guys are all experts. It's easy to kind of get lost in that and forget that whenever you're working with people in your industry, your coworkers all the time. But to the average person on your website, you're somebody that they know a lot from. The way that most websites work, say I want to offer basketball training to somebody, our websites are very simple, almost too simple, where they'll just say, hey, here's a little bit about me, now pay me money, fill out this contact form. So a website might say, I'm good at basketball, pay me to teach you. If I'm crazy, I might do that, but otherwise, There's nothing there to kind of sell me on it, to walk me through why I should work with them. Once you start to add more information in terms of informational content, this could be blog posts, articles, white papers, you start to build a bigger picture of why somebody would want to work with you, why they should go to dinner at your restaurant, why they should buy a product from you. And this doesn't have to be inherently sales content. This can just be informational content. And eventually, we're able to determine, whether or not you're Michael Jordan or some little kid down the street based on the content that your website has. Otherwise, there's no way for somebody to kind of differentiate you from somebody else. Your content is an awesome place to do that. Prove that you're the expert, and that'll help convert a lot more people. That content is really the proof. Even if I don't know most of you in here, some of you I know a little bit, but if I'm on your website, I don't know if you know your stuff or not. You kind of have to win me over a little bit. So again, if you don't have any informational content on your site, you're just saying buy now or leave. You're not really walking through the end of that purchasing funnel. Another really good way to accomplish converting people and earning trust is customer testimonials. And what people ask whenever they go to your site and look at your product or services is, do people like me use this? If I'm buying a pool, I want to know that other homeowners in the area have good experience with this company. They like their product, they're still using it. So anything that you can provide to that regard is really going to help. A lot of it's just the difference between walking into the store and buying a product for the first time versus somebody personally recommends a particular product to you. That's a very powerful thing. If you can, video testimonials are always the best. If you can't do video testimonials, photos work really well. You want to make these as personal as possible. Sometimes I see people will do anonymous testimonials, which maybe if you have like a rehab center or something highly personal, you can't always do super personal face up front testimonials. But my assumption, again, this is my evil marketer hat on, but if it's anonymous, it's made up. It's somebody at the company wrote it. So the more that you can get in terms of faces, names, companies, job titles really goes a long way in proving that your company is worth working with. So last one for this is keep it simple. I talked earlier how if you're way too simple, if you just say, here's my product, buy now, you're kind of in trouble. But at the other end of the spectrum, if you just overload your site with so much information, people aren't going to convert. So in general, if you have a product page, make it as simple as possible for somebody to buy that page. Once they're on the product page, if you're saying, do this, call us here, download this, and do this, there's too much distraction there. In part because of technology, we're all a little bit scatterbrained. And once somebody is ready to actually buy something or fill out a contact form, it's a very precious moment in their head. The kids aren't yelling at them, the computer isn't crashing, the radio isn't playing their favorite song, they're ready to buy, they're ready to fill out a form. So make it as easy as possible to do that. The phrase that I always tell people that seems to work pretty well is optimize for Homer Simpson. This guy's a total idiot. I don't know if you guys watch The Simpsons at all or not, but he's not smart. So if Homer Simpson lands on your contact form, it needs to be as easy as possible for him to fill that out. One mistake that people make on their contact forms a lot is they're way too long and way too complicated. I actually just saw one the other day. I was trying to donate to an organization, and the form was literally like the scroll bar on the side was like minuscule. It was asking for spouse phone number, spouse address, like all this weird stuff. And I just left. I didn't want to fill it out. It was going to take me 15 minutes to do it. I just wanted to say, hey, I'll donate $25, take my money. Make your forms as simple as possible. That's always a battle between sales and marketing because sales wants as much information as possible. That's usually how the conversation goes. Hey, would any of this be helpful for you? Our expert salesperson, they say, sure, I would like all of it. So we create these huge forms on the site. And what ends up happening is half the people that go to the form don't actually end up filling it out. So whether you have sales and marketing as different departments or you are all in one, just make that be the 4 or 5 things that you really, really need. And that's going to encourage more people to fill that out. So every page on your site, you should review it and ask yourself, what is the one thing that visitors are supposed to do whenever they hit this page? and somebody who's never seen your site should be able to look at it and figure out what that one thing is in 3 seconds or less. And one way to accomplish this is just through kind of well-constructed design. If you have a contact form that's the focal point of that page, make that stand out. Maybe it's a different color from the rest of your site. But whatever it is, just keep it simple in terms of getting those final conversions. Give people less options. A good example is if you go out to eat dinner, there's some diners that have menus that are like the Bible, basically. They're just like, seems like hundreds of thousands of pages of different options. Then you go somewhere else and there's 4 different things. You can either get the hamburger, the pasta, whatever it is. You give me the small menu, I'll decide what I want to do in probably less than a minute. If I have the other menu, especially my girlfriend, if she has the other menu, we might sit there for a half hour before we even order anything. So you want to make it easy for people to do what you want them to do once we've kind of gone through all of this. You think about what we talked about earlier, all the tactics and everything. You've gone through all of that effort. You've managed to get somebody on your contact form. Don't screw it up now. So to summarize, converting people, you want to collect value from as many people as possible. You want to position yourself as the expert through the content on your website. Sell yourself through your knowledge. You guys are all experts. Testimonials are awesome. If you have them on your website, great. Maybe add photos, maybe add names, whatever you can do to kind of build those out. And optimize for Homer Simpson. Next time you watch The Simpsons, just think, what would Homer do whenever he's going through my website? So to kind of wrap it up, what is online marketing all about? That's kind of the theme of the day. And I hope through what we've talked about, you would kind of agree now that online marketing is great at reaching people. It's an awesome platform for finding the audience out there who's interested in you. It gives us a lot of tools to grow our business. We just went over 5 different marketing channels. We could talk about 500 if you wanted. Pretty much any way that you want to market, the internet is the most efficient and cost-effective way to do that. And most importantly, it's awesome at converting people. I can be at home at night and buy something online. I don't have to get up and go to the store. And that's just one simple example of how efficient of a platform the internet is at converting people. A lot of people don't really think of it this way either, but the internet is actually still brand new. A lot of people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I haven't had a website ever. It just seems like it's kind of late in the game. Everybody's already passing by. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The internet has only really been adopted at a massive scale for 15, 20 years. And that's even pushing it. This is a graph of the number of printed book titles that came out after Gutenberg invented the printing press. Let's see if I can run this thing. So if you look, we're probably like right here for the internet. And for my money, the printing press was the last thing that's kind of comparable to the internet in terms of the way that it revolutionized the way that people communicate and do things. So we really are still figuring out how the heck to use this thing. We're in the early stages of knowing how to capitalize on this power and use the internet to do really amazing things. Try to go a day without the internet. If the internet's out at your home, it's like the worst thing ever. And it's amazing to think that we've already gotten to that point in just a short amount of time. So marketing's job is to create leads and money. Again, this is your business 101 lesson. You don't want to be the guy with the blindfold or somebody who's just guessing at marketing. Whatever you're doing marketing-wise, you want to be able to attribute that to new leads coming in, new revenue for your business. If you can't answer those questions, if you can't come close, you probably have a problem. I think the most efficient way to do measurable marketing that really drives these things is a combination of the platform the internet gives us and smart tactical marketing. We can make decisions on the fly, we can evaluate things, we can try new low-cost ways to market our business.